low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team. We signed another player. We did. We signed another player. This time, it was a prospect whom you probably didn't expect, whom you might not even be aware of, whom is still 4 or 5 years away from the NHL. I probably shouldn't just open at that because now everyone's like, just gonna turn that video off. Thanks for the information though, brother. No, Loke Johannson has just been signed by the Boston Bruins. Oh, and while I'm thinking of it, just a heads up, the game review for tonight, the Senators game, that's gonna be released tomorrow morning. Something came up because this fall continues to just be too difficult to stay on a schedule, and my job is trying to murder me and not allow me to do the things I want to do. Classic. So, sorry about the delay. Tomorrow morning there will be a game review, but that's where we're at. Loke Johannson, 18-year-old left shot defenseman, has been signed to an ELC, an entry-level contract. 3 years, right? I believe if you sign under the age of 20, it's 3 years, then 21, 2 years, 22, 1 year. This is a bit of a surprise to me. Not because I thought he wasn't good. I saw him at the development camp in July. We had literally just picked this guy. We had picked him. He's actually, is he the most recent Bruins draft pick? Did we have a 7th round pick last year? I don't think we did. Hold that thought. Well, would you look at that? He is the most recent Bruins draft pick at this time. 6th round, 186th overall. At the time of the draft, he was 6'3", 214 pounds. This is an 18-year-old kid with girth. There's a big boy. That's a big boy right there. I mentioned that he's 18. What is important about this? Because your immediate idea is he's either ready to make the leap next year, right? Or what are the Bruins doing signing him so unbelievably early? That doesn't make any sense, right? Well, it doesn't exactly, but it kind of does. This can be considered as a 5-year ELC, entry-level contract. I'm going to start saying ELC, but I know some people watch these videos and they're kind of new to it. Basically 5 years, because regardless of whether he jumps to the AHL, not this season, of course, but next year, or the year after, it doesn't actually matter because him signing this ELC so early means that he gets 2 slide years as long as he doesn't appear in, I believe, over 9 NHL games. So for the next 2 years, unless he touches NHL ice, which with the current contracts the Boston Bruins have, feels very unlikely in the defensive metric of it all. After that, the ELC begins, right? You would expect, if this is their signing, that in 3 years' time, he is certainly in the AHL. He is working with our coaches, and he really starts that 3-year process. Being 18 years old, not turning 19 until mid-December means that he can have 2 full years of this contract sliding and not actually beginning. There is also a trick with the amount of it, because he signs for $860,000 AAV, but something about the structure he signed for $880,000 AAV, but because of the structure with the signing bonuses, it actually counts for less once those years actually start counting. It's not a lot less. It literally might just be like a $20,000 difference, but it is less for some reason. I'm not a cap wizard. I guess it's really only explanation I can find for them actually doing this early. Either way, 6th round pick, most recent draft pick for the Boston Bruins. He is, at 18 years old, and this is something I talked about at the camp, he's good at everything. He's good at everything. Like, all of it. He's a nice little wrister, can load up from the blue line, can move the puck offensively. He's good with his stick in the defensive zone. He's physical in the defensive zone. He can win board battles. He's good at everything. Good is a really important word here because he is great at nothing as far as I can tell. Unless a lot has changed over the last 6 months, he's great at nothing. He's a smooth and mobile skater. Not an excellent one, not going to blow by guys, not going to be able to keep up with the other team's top stars, much like the Pasternaks or the McDavids or the Kucherovs, but no one really can anyway. He is a contributor offensively, but he's not going to be considered an offensive defenseman. He can lay the body and play a little mean. He wouldn't be considered a physical shutdown guy. He has 1 goal and 4 assists in 15 games in the QMJHL this season. He also has 16 penalty minutes, and he's a +9 through 15 games, which is pretty solid. He looks really good for an 18-year-old. Don't get me wrong. To being a guy that is consistently across the board reliable in basically every situation, it's a coach's wet dream, right? It's a guy that you just chuck out there and go, all right, he's going to eat 1 minute and 20 seconds. I don't got to worry about this, right? That's worth its weight in gold. He does not, in any way, shape, or form, seem like a top-pairing guy. Now, he's 18, just got drafted in the sixth round. What a wild take, right? He's not a top-pairing guy. This guy's projection is all over the charts. I have no idea how good he could possibly be, or if this is the best he'll ever be. Especially when you have guys like this. Well, you do, of course, expect them to get better. But when they're just across the board, shotgun blast, I'm a little good at everything, you just don't know what their ceiling is. You also don't know what their floor is. Really challenging to tell with players like this. I don't think he's a top pairing guy in the future. That feels like a huge stretch, and I think anyone would agree with me on that. But he is just the perfect middle pair guy. The perfect, let's put him on the second penalty kill unit and the second power play unit. He won't be on the power play unit, but you know what I mean. He just jumps in there with those large amounts of ice time, gives you reliable minutes. He's not the pair you go out to be like game breaking, but he's also not that guy that's like, oh, we just need a serviceable 14 minutes from you tonight. No, he's still gonna get that 17 to 19 minutes a night like a second pairing guy would. That's good. That's a good projection for him. That's an optimistic projection for him because he's a long way away from the NHL. It's an optimistic projection for anyone taken after the 3rd round, the year that he was taken in the draft. It's still crazy to me. The most recent draft pick just got signed to an ELC. It's a 5-year process. I would expect that they're looking at him and they like him. Obviously, they like him. Why else would you do this? And going, okay, we know this is a 3 to 5 year project for him. Absolutely certain of that. He will not be ready for the NHL in the next couple of years. No way, Jose. But with guys like Carlo or Peake's contracts going to be off the books in the next couple of years, although Carlo, you would certainly hope for a team-friendly, shutdown defenseman kind of contract to continue playing with the Boston Bruins, or at least I am in that camp right now. There is space, even though he's a left shot defenseman, that you go, if he's doing well, we might need that third pairing guy for a year or two, and then he bumps up and takes over for Carlo in the second pairing, whatever that might be. What is interesting about this is on that left side, even if you gave it a 5-year projection for him making the league, you have Hampus Lindholm till he's 36, which he's 30 now. He has 6 more years. You have Zadorov for 6 more years. You have Lohrei, who you're really hoping, this being the final year of his ELC, that is going to be a mainstay on your left side for a long time coming as well. Obviously, the start to the season has been anything but good for Lohrei, but you are hoping that he's still a lock for that left side. In 5 years, what I'm trying to say is all 3 of those guys are probably still here. 2 of them because their contracts would be rather tricky to move, and 1 of them because he's a young player who you'd think is in the middle of his prime. So I don't actually see what the plan is exactly, but I dig it, I guess. I'm cool with it. He would have to be able to play the opposite side, which defensemen oftentimes are asked to do, especially early on in their careers until they solidify into a role. Maybe they're thinking that, hey, we don't know what Hampus or Zadorov are going to look like in 4 years, so this might be one of those guys had to get buried or something like that. I don't know. A lot can change in 4 years. A lot can change in 4 years. Either way, it's an interesting signing, even if it's very, very far away. It does seem kind of early to do this. I don't totally understand the concept, and if you have a better answer than I do, because I'm not a capologist, toss it in the comments. But I find it interesting. I do find it interesting. I think genuinely, if you've already signed this guy who has already looked good across the board in these skills, they have a lot of faith that by 22 years old, he's going to be a real NHL player. And the Bruins, any prospect they can hit on right now is huge. And if they're sitting there in 3 years going, this guy's for real, we got to move someone off our team, that's a good problem to have. They did sign him 2 days ago. I'm a little late on this, but I did want to make a little video about it, talk to you guys about it. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. I hope we rock the Senators tonight, even though I did predict a loss on the Short Shift podcast. You should check it out, but that's just being a negative Nancy over here. I just think Olmark's going to go off tonight. I just can't help it. I do hope, and I've said this on the Short Shift pod, I really, really want to see, at the end of the game, Olmark take the helmet off and menacingly skate to the center dot, and Swayman do the same, staring each other down, pretend to fight, hug. Is it lame and cheesy? Absolutely. Sometimes I want to be a lame and cheesy dude. Go Bees. Go Bees! Of course, we have to give a huge thank you to everyone who's supporting this channel, especially the high-quality inspectors, our top-line tier members, Chris and Erica, Jeff with a G, Tommy Braga, The Bugman, Roland22, GD Viperworks, Len Cruz, Moonlighter TV, Brock Nope, Han Slomo, Coach D, The Atomic Lizard, Bradley Johnson, Aaron Adams, Brett Arney, Pincent, Adam Ella, and Nick Citrullo. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. You're all studs and studettes. And of course, a huge thank you to the Stallions, our all-star tier members, Joel, Doots42, Heil E. Coyote, Darren Woodbury, Abraxion, John Kirk, Michael DiPaolo, Wolf Warrior, Vinny, Adrian Winter, Tupton D. Tashi, Nightmare Eco, Bruins Smash, DeKingery, The Only Newts, A Tasty Snack, Dash Riprock, Jacob Pratt, and Jeremy. You are all absolute legends. I appreciate you eternally. And as usual, go Bees!